So in this lecture, we are going to see about satisfiability problem. Okay, so satisfiability problem, basically what it tells us that we have a Boolean formulas. Okay, and the Boolean formulas consist of many variables. So for example, we are going to take that x1, x2, x3 and so on, whatever it might be. Okay, so since they are Boolean variables, each variable can have only two values, either that can be true or false. So x1 can be either true or false. They are mutually exclusive. So if x1 is true, then x1 bar will be called as false. Okay, so the negation of x1 is called as x1 bar. So that can be false. Okay, so now what is satisfiability problem is that whenever you have a Boolean formula which is expressed in the form of conjunctive normal form, CNF. Okay, and we are now going to check that is there any set of variables which can make that particular CNF as satisfiable or not. Okay, so satisfiable means you take any variable over here. So x1, x2, x3 composes to make a formula. So for example, so here we have one example, x1 r x2 bar comma x1 bar r x3 bar. See, this V symbol stands for R. Okay, R class means it is that this R class takes two arguments. One is the left argument and the right argument. If any one of these argument is true, then this formula is true. That is the meaning of R. Okay, so this symbol represents AND. Okay, so AND means it is again, it takes two arguments, left argument and right argument. If both the argument is true, then only the formula will be stand as true. Okay, so that is the meaning of R and AND. And the Boolean formula consists of variables and terms. Okay, so what are terms? Terms are nothing but the combination of these variables are called as terms. So we have terms T1, T2, etc. up to TA, and Tj is one of the term over here, which is either xi or xi bar. Okay, and then classes. What is classes means? So these terms together with the R stands for a name called as a class. Okay, so the simplest entity of a Boolean formula is variable, and a variable contains x1, x2, etc. up to that, and we can name any variable with our own. Okay, so we can define anything, and the terms consist of these variables, and the classes are the R gate between these terms. Okay, so that's why. So the example for the classes over here is this is first example, first class, class 1, class 2 and class 3. Similar in the second example, we have this is class 1 and class 2. Okay, now what is satisfiable is that a truth assignment is a choice of true or false for each variable. So for example, you take this class alone. Okay, so this class contains three variable, x1, x2 and x3 bar. Okay, so if I say this is satisfiable, then it has to lead to an answer true. Okay, so when this will lead to an answer true? If any of these variable, okay, so here we have three variable. If any of these three variable is true, then I can state that this class is true. Okay, so if this class is accounted to true, then I can state that it is satisfiable. Okay, so the simple meaning is that that particular class or the function or the Boolean variable, Boolean formula or the conjunctive normal form is satisfiable if and only if it is giving the final answer as true. Okay, so that is what. Okay, so the truth assignment is you are assigning either one particular variable x1 as true or false. That is what which has been given here. Okay, now what is conjunctive normal form? Okay, expressing all the classes using and. Okay, conjunction. Okay, so this symbol is called as R as well as disjunction, and this symbol is called as and as well as conjunction. Okay, so a conjunctive normal form is a conjunction of classes. So we already know that what is classes. Classes are nothing but R's of terms. Okay, so here we have conjunctions of classes. So in this example, we have two classes. If you put an and over here, then it becomes a conjunctive normal form. Okay, so that was an and between two class. So this will become a conjunctive normal form. So here is an example. So you have class 1, this is class 2, and this is class 3. Okay, and the conjunction between each classes will finally give you that this is an example of a conjunctive normal form. So in simple words, we can express this as C1 conjunction C2 conjunction C3. So it goes on till how many terms or how many classes you have. Okay. So this is conjunctive normal form. So when I can say that a conjunctive normal form is satisfiable. Okay. So if you assign x1 as true and x3 as false and x2 as true, in that case, this particular conjunctive normal form will become true. You know, it's like in what assignment of true or false for each variable so that it will lead to this entire conjunctive normal form to be true. Okay. So for example, look into the same example. So this is the conjunctive normal form. Let me assign x1 as true. Okay. So if x1 is true, then definitely this class will become true. Okay. And if x3 is false, then this class will become true because this is x3 bar. So this will become true. And if x2 is true, then this class will also become true. So true and true and true, so that this entire conjunctive normal form will become a true answer, so that it is satisfiable under the condition x1 true, x2 true, and x3 false. Okay, so this is basically called as a satisfiability problem. So any Boolean expression which is expressed in the form of CNF, we are supposed to choose that which assignment of that variable is going to give you that CNF as satisfiable. Okay, so that is what the problem statement is. Okay, a truth assignment is a satisfying statement for such a formula. It makes every class true. So that is called as satisfiable. And now satisfiability. So any class given the set of classes C1 etc. up to CK over the variables x1 etc. up to xn, is there a satisfying assignment or not? If you have a satisfying assignment, then those classes are called as satisfiable classes. That's it. Okay. And now what is the difference between simple SAT and 3-SAT? See, satisfiability in short, we call that as a SAT. Okay. Now what is the difference between SAT and 3-SAT? Okay. So 3-SAT is nothing but whenever every class is expressed in the form of the length 3 over the variable 3. So then we can call that as a 3-SAT. That's it. Okay. So you can look into this example here. It is a 2-SAT because every class has been expressed with the 2 variables only. Okay. So this class contains 2 variables. This class contains 2 variables. This class contains 2 variables. So if you put conjunction between them, then in this case, this example will stand for 2-SAT. Okay. So if all these 3 classes contains 3 variables inside it, so that will become 3-SAT. That is the only difference between simple SAT and 3-SAT. So the definition is given a set of classes C1 etc. up to CK, each of length 3. So every class should contain 3 variables, either in the form of original or the negation. It's like it may have x1 or it may have x2 bar or x3 bar or whatever it might be. But the length should be only 3 over the variables x1 etc. Up to xn. Is that a satisfying assignment or not? Okay, so that was the question. And now we are going to prove that 3-SAT is a NP complete problem, which has been already proved by a scientist called as Cook in the year 1970. And another scientist, Levin, he also proved that 3-SAT is a NP complete problem. Remember, what is the definition for the NP complete problem? We have already seen that. So a NP complete problem, first condition is that it should be NP. It should be NP means it is solved in a non-deterministic Turing machine, but it can be verified in a polynomial running time. Okay, so that is what the definition for the NP. Okay, so first definition is NP. And the second condition for an NP complete problem is that we can actually reduce any problem into NP hard so that it will become an NP complete. Okay, so that was the second condition. So now we have to check 2 conditions over here. So the idea of the proof is that encode the workings of a non-deterministic Turing machine for an instance I of a problem X belongs to NP. Okay, so we are going to check one instance. Okay, so like this we can make. So for example, if you have only 3 variables x1, x2, x3, you may have x1, x2, x3 and x1 bar, x2 bar, x3 bar. So 6 variables are there. Out of 6 variables, we can make n number of instances like this. Okay, we can make n number of instances. So we are just going to check for an instance of a problem X belongs to NP as a SAT formula, so that the formula is satisfiable So satisfiable means you have to check that is there any satisfying assignment available or not. So what is satisfying assignment? So for every variable, you have to check true or false such that the entire class conjunctive normal form will become true. Okay, so that is what the meaning of satisfiable. So whenever you read satisfiable hereafter, you have to mean that. Okay, and if and only if the non-deterministic Turing machine would accept that instance. Okay, so we are just going to take one particular CNF formula and going to and express that in the form of SAT formula, and we are going to check that whether it is satisfiable or not. So remember, our aim is not to bring an instance. Instead, we have an instance. We are going to check that whether that instance is satisfiable through this truth assignment or not. It is only verification. We are not going to generate the solution. We are just going to check that whether this particular instance of the problem X is correct or satisfiable or not. Okay, so this will come under NP complete only. And how we are going to reduce this 3-SAT problem. So the reduction of the 3-SAT problem. Okay, so 3-SAT problem will be reduced to a problem called as independent set. So this independent set will be solved using polynomial running time only. That's why it has been represented this. Okay, so the 3-SAT has been reduced to independent set problem which can be solved using polynomial running time. That is the meaning of this. Okay, and how to prove that, whether we can reduce it to independent set or not. Okay, suppose we have an algorithm to solve independent set, how we can use it to solve for a 3-SAT. Okay, so we have 3-SAT problem. 3-SAT problem as itself cannot be solved because it is an NP hard. So we are now going to reduce that in the form of independent set, and then we are going to solve that problem. Okay, so now how to solve that 3-SAT? You have to choose a term form for each class to set it to true. So now we have to check that for each class, what will be the assignment of x1, x2, x3 such that it can be set to true. And then, but you can't set both xi. This is the condition you need to be understand. You can't set both xi and xi bar to be true because we know that xi is an opposite of xi bar. Similarly, xi bar is the opposite of xi. They are mutually exclusive. So if you put x1 as true, then x1 bar is automatically false only. So now how do we do the reduction? So this can be easily visualized using this example. Okay, so take this example. This is a 3-SAT problem. Look into this. It is a conjunctive normal form. It is expressed in the form of Boolean formulas, and it has x1, x2, x3, and every class have the length 3. So we have 3 classes, class 1, class 2, and class 3, and every class have the length 3. And we have 4 variables, x1, x2, x3, and x4 inside it. Now, how we can reduce that to independent set? So this diagram represents independent set. So look into that. So first class has been expressed in this way. So how many variables we have in the first class? 3 variables. So every class has been represented in the form of an independent triangle. Okay, independent triangle. Fine. So we have x1, we have x2. So x2 is linked, and then x3 bar. So each is linked with R. So all of them are connected. So that is being independent with the next set. So what is the next class? x2, x3, and x4 bar. So x2, x3, and x4 bar. And then the third class. What is the third class? x1, x2 bar, and x4 bar. Sorry, x4. So now we have reduced our 3-SAT into independent set. We have expressed that into the form of the independent set. Now what these blue lines represent, you know, the blue lines are nothing but they are representing which is the exclusive, mutually exclusive part of what. Okay, so x3 and x3 bar, x2 and x2 bar, x2 and x2 bar, x4 and x4 bar. So these blue lines are representing its opposite classes. Okay, and now this graph has an independent set of size k if and only if the formula is satisfiable. Okay, so now we are not visualizing the example in the form of 3-SAT. Instead, we are now going to solve the problem using independent set. So how independent set can be taken is that here x1 is completely independent of the other 2 classes when compared to it, because here x2 is linked with x2 bar and this class has been linked with this through x3 bar. So for this set, who is independent? X1 is independent. Okay, and now look into this class. So who will be independent here? In this case, none of them are independent. And now look into this. Who is independent? here in this case again x1 is independent. So you can take x1 and make that as an independent set and assign that as true first. Okay, so if you assign true here for x1, if you assign true, then this class will become true automatically. Similarly, this class will also become true automatically. Now look into this class. So every variable is being linked with the other one. Now look into any one of these classes, any one of these variable and assign them as either true or false. So this is how we are going to solve the independent set. Okay, so if you take x2 or x3 or x4 bar, you can take any of these things and then assign true so that it will become automatically true. So for this example, let me take x2 as true. So this will become true. This case will also become true and this class will also become true. So completely your given conjective normal form will become satisfiable with the length only k. So k is only 2. That is, keeping x1 and x2 as true, then the entire formula will become true. Okay, so we have now solved the problem. So if the formula is satisfiable by keeping x1 as true and x2 as true, okay, there is at least one true literal in each class. Okay, so in each class it has to be at least one true literal. Literal means these variables. Okay, so this x2 x3 are called as literal. Let S be set of one such true literal from each class, so that the length of the S will be equivalent to k. Okay, so here the k is only 2 because by simply keeping x1 and x2 as true, then the entire class will become true. And no two nodes in the S are connected by an edge. Okay, because see, if I take this x1 and x2 so that they are independent of each other, that's why. Okay, so if the graph has an independent set of size k, we know that it has one node from each class triangle. Set those terms to true. This is possible because no two are the negations of each other. Okay, so if I take x1 over here, then I should not take x1 bar anywhere. Okay, so that's what an independent set meaning is. Okay, so now we have reduced this NP hard problem, that is the free sat problem. In order to solve that, I'm just going to reduce that in the form of independent set and I'm finding the answer towards it. Okay, so a simple instance I have taken here is this. And for that instance, I applied independent set and I have found the solution and I am going to verify that whether it is true or false. That is, it is satisfiable or not. So this is completely about satisfiability problem. How we can solve the satisfiability problem even though it is NP complete. You can take any examples and try to solve that by applying the independent set and practice on this. So Hamiltonian cycle, the definition of Hamiltonian cycle is given here. Given a directed graph G, is there a cycle that visits every vertex exactly once? Okay, so if you have such question on a given graph, then if you find an answer that a cycle exists, then such cycle is called as a Hamiltonian cycle. Okay, so now Hamiltonian cycle is an NP complete problem. So I already told you that what is NP complete, it should satisfy two conditions. One is that it should be NP, then it has to solve the NP hard. That is, it has to be reduced to other problem, okay, which is NP hard. Okay, now first Hamiltonian cycle belongs to NP because we know that the time complexity is actually expressed in exponential. We saw that 3-SAT problem. Okay, so 3-SAT problem that we have seen just now can be reduced to Hamiltonian cycle. So by reducing this, we can solve the problem. Okay, so how it can be solved? Suppose we have a black box to solve a Hamiltonian cycle. Okay, so an algorithm which can solve the Hamiltonian cycle is kept as a black box. Now, how do we solve 3-SAT? So we have already seen how do we solve with 3-SAT. Okay, so 3-SAT itself can be solved by reducing it to independent set. Okay, so that has been expressed here. And now reduction, how reduction can be done. So create some graph structure that represents the variables. Okay, so here we have to create the graph structures in the form of the variables. Okay, so 3-SAT contains variables. Now you have to represent your graph, directed graph G, represented in the form of variables. Okay, and some graph structure that represents the classes. So now you have to convert them into classes, and you have to encode them in the form of CNF formula. Okay, and show that this graph has a Hamiltonian cycle if the formula is satisfiable. Okay, so they just going to transfer the entire Hamiltonian cycle in the form of 3-SAT problem. And 3-SAT problem, how it has been solved in the same way, if you can able to solve the problem, then Hamiltonian cycle can be solved using 3-SAT problem. Okay, so now this is how they have represented in this. So first point, that is represented in the form of variables. So you have variable xi, x2, x3, etc. up to that. And the graph is a directed graph. So from xi we are moving to x2, from x2 we are moving to x3, or we have the backward direction, whatever it might be. Okay, so since we are representing that in the form of the variables, we are just going to represent that the forward direction are representing true and the reverse direction are representing false. Okay, so we can take anything. So in this example, they represent this direction as true and forward direction is false. So it's up to us to take anything, because we are just going to check that whether it is satisfiable or not. Okay, now encode them into the form of the classes. Okay, so classes is representing that. Okay, so for example, take this as x2 and take this as x3. So x2 or x3, so these two will become a class ck. And now next is ck plus 1, that is this x3 or x4. This will become the next class. Okay, so connect it is in the form of the classes. So everything is in the form of the classes. Okay, and the entire graph has been represented in the form of this. Okay, so it's like you have x1, x2, x3, x4, or else you can even have your variables representing in this way, x1, x2, x3, x4. That is, see, what it has been represented completely over here is you have a source and you have a destination. Okay, so your cycle has to run from here, from one node to another node, from this, or it can travel inside this and then it can go in this direction. Any direction it can go on, and finally it reaches T. Then T also has to reach to S, because this is a cycle. Okay, and how the classes has been represented is that each intermediate path over here will be represented in the form of the classes. So this is C1, and in the second stage this is C2, then the next is C3. So likewise in every level it has been represented as the classes. So class C1, C2, C3, like that it has been represented. Okay, so this is a simple representation that how Hamiltonian cycle has been represented as 3-SAT. Okay, and then Hamiltonian path encodes a truth assignment for the variables. Now you just take x1, x2, x3, x4, etc. up to xn. Okay, so each and everything is a node on your graph. Now assign every variable as either true or false, such that you will be having the finally reaching T as your true or not. If you are reaching T as true with the assignment of x1 as true and x2 as false, x3 as true and xn as true, in that case we can tell that it is satisfiable. So if it is satisfiable, then that was the path which is leading to the Hamiltonian cycle. Okay, so that has been expressed here. Encodes a truth assignment for the variables depending on which direction each chain is traversed. For that to be a Hamiltonian cycle, we have to visit every class node. Okay, so every class node need to be visited, and we can only visit a class if we satisfy it. Remember, we already know 3-SAT problem. So how we can tell that every class has to be true? Then only we can tell that the entire conjunctive normal formula is true. That has been represented here by setting its terms to be true. And if there is a Hamiltonian cycle, there is a satisfying assignment. So if you have a satisfying assignment, then definitely you have a Hamiltonian cycle inside it. Okay, so that's it. And this is explaining how Hamiltonian path differs from psi t. We already know that if we don't have this pink line, then it will become a Hamiltonian path. That's it. Okay, so which has been expressed here. If you want to just go through it. And in the Google Classroom, I have given the references. Kindly go with the references, okay, because I have referred that from different sources and I'm explaining their material only. I didn't prepare anything new.